Liam Delap has now been secured. The next target now is to sign that new left winger, and today, my friends, we have some big updates and reports surrounding who these targets are set to be. Hope you guys enjoy. Hit that like button, and very quickly, if you have not secured your 25-26 home kit, use my link above in the card and description below, and don't forget to use Nini10 at checkout to get a full 10% off your final order. Love my guys, and let's tackle these reports. Starting with things we discuss, Alejandro Garnacho. Not the biggest story, but naturally with Garnacho and Amorim now falling out, and with Garnacho's future being determined as he's set now to leave Man United, naturally, obviously, he would want to sign for us if the opportunity arises. He would prefer to remain in the Premier League, and obviously we can offer London. We have the Latin influence, and of course we have a young, exciting and hungry team. So it's only obvious that Garnacho has told his agents and his team to engineer talks with us, to force a move through, to make things happen, to see if there's a possibility that he could sign for us. I understand that, I get it. I don't see Garnacho high up our left wing priority list though. He's probably there, but he's probably way down the list of priorities. I don't think he's as bad as people say he is, but I also don't think he's as good as he himself sees his game, if that makes sense. He's kind of in between, and I think for him, maybe going to Napoli would make the most sense, or maybe going down another level in the Premier League. If there's a move that happens at like Nottingham Forest, or I don't know, like a Brighton, or a West Ham, or a Crystal Palace, or something like that, I think for where he is right now, he could really hone and fine-tune his game, going down a level, obviously playing the long game, and then maybe finding that big move when he's like 23, 24. I personally feel that he would probably do a lot better for us compared to what he's done at Man United, because I think his game kind of complements what Maresca wants. But to be honest, he's just not the type of signing that I want, even though I understand he has many good coachable qualities, his box entries, his willingness to take shots off. He's a goal-scoring winger, and for myself, if he goes down another level and plays the long game, I think he'll benefit from this more in the future. But one thing's for certain, if Man United had any plans and hopes of selling Garnacho for 50 million, that won't be happening. Obviously, he has been quite outspoken recently since the season has ended, saying things after the UEFA Cup defeat to Spurs, like, we didn't beat anyone in the league. We lacked a lot of things. When you don't score goals, you always need more. Until we reached the final, I played every round, and I played 20 minutes a day. I don't know. I'm going to try and enjoy the summer and see what happens next. So this is him saying in his own way, listen, I'm available. I want to leave Man United. It's not working here. And now that clubs will understand that Garnacho now is definitely on that transfer list, it'll be very hard for United to receive the offers that they were hoping to originally get for him. So make it that what you will. But for myself, I just don't think Garnacho is the move we need right now, especially as we have Kenda arriving literally next year. So I don't think you guys even have many thoughts and opinions on this, but I had to maybe start with this story first so we can discuss the main big story that has dropped today. And the Telegraph have finally revealed that we are now in advanced talks with Borussia Dortmund to engineer a move for Jamie Bynoe-Gittens, as we want this deal completed before the start of the Club World Cup on the 14th of June. So that's literally in 2 weeks' time. Now, we know that we made inquiries for him in January. We know that he's been a player that's been on our shortlist now for a very long time. There is some more context. Jadon Sancho, Gittens, they share the same agency, so there would be a lot of mutual benefits behind a deal like this. Funny enough, Gittens did spend some time in our academy when he was younger. I mean, don't get too gassed. It's quite normal for like the top exciting talents to spend a lot of time across lots of different academies in the country. But at the moment, Dortmund are holding out for offers of just under 50 mil or above 50 million. That figure has not exclusively been determined just yet. Now, another thing that benefits us is that Gittens won't be taking part in the Euro Under-21 tournament for England this summer, which is a bonus because now, of course, he is fully available for the Club World Cup. So that's the news, my friends. Jamie Bynoe-Gittens looks to be the main left-wing target we're hoping to buy. And I guess from this point on, this is where there's a lot of conversations to have now. And I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions behind how I feel about this potential move. Does this mean that there's now uncertainty around Jadon Sancho's future? I'm not too sure. We know that at the moment the club are holding talks with Sancho to accept reduced terms to stay here, and I would be very surprised if Sancho said no. So I don't think we're in a position where we would pay the $5 million pen fee to get rid of him. If anything, I see it like maybe we would keep both Sancho and Gittens in the team together. You keep these two and you get ready for the arrival of Kenda next year, who might probably take Jadon Sancho's position. Let's see. These are the things I discussed around January when we were making the efforts for him, where I could see maybe both of them supporting each other by being competition down that side. We have the experienced figure who offers us something a little different. Ball retention, ability to link the play and creativity. And to support that, we'd have the younger option who wants to run towards goal, who wants to take shots off, a very, high volume shot taking type of player, very direct, very fast. And I guess having two players who can play the role in different ways gives Maresca more possibilities. I mean, Maresca does do pretty well with wingers. Look what he did with Mavididi and Fataru whilst he was at Leicester City. They do shine in the system. So should we maybe afford some grace to Gittens and have some confidence that he could really excel being in a different environment with a lot of his teammates that he already knows in a league that obviously he wants to come back to. And still though, is 50 mil still a bit too high? We don't know the exact figures, but it seems to be in this ballpark of £50 million. Now naturally, all of us are turning our attentions now to Carney Chukwuemeka. Like, surely this is a no-brainer. Carney is involved in the deal where he goes to Dortmund and we get Gittens in return. I don't think it's quite as simple as that. Now, Dortmund, annoyingly for us, they did secure Champions League qualification against all odds after the really indifferent start to the season that they had. Chukwuemeka played some key parts in that season, which led to Niko Kovac really publicly praising the player. And there were strong talks about Dortmund keeping him and finding opportunities for him to remain at Dortmund. Now, we know that when they agreed to buy him, they paid a €3 million loan fee, and there was an option to buy at the end for around 35 million, which is around like 40-something million euros. But that was always deemed a bit too high for Dortmund. Now they have CL qualification. Does this now open up new avenues and new doors? I'm not too sure, because I've also been following Carney's progress behind the scenes, and I've seen that he hasn't always been starting, and a lot of those reasons have still come down to fitness. I think for Carney, last season was only about finding his fitness again. He has had a lot of injuries. And when you're out for that long, it takes you a few months to really get back to speed. He's made some encouraging signs, but he hasn't played enough where Dortmund would want to pay the full amount of money to keep him. And these are the latest reports that's coming out right now, suggesting that Dortmund may now be turning their attentions away from Chukwuemeka, as they are now prioritizing a move for Joe Bellingham from Sunderland, who makes a lot more sense for them. So if we had any hopes of maybe pushing Carney one way to get Gittens, it seems to be a bit low right now, unless maybe something, spectacular happens, and maybe we decide to allow Chukwuemeka to stay at Dortmund for, another year on loan for like reduced terms and, things that would make Dortmund more inclined to want to keep the player. Let's see how things go. Time will tell. But to share my thoughts on Gittens, I have to say, listen, I'm objective. I don't think the kid's a bad player. I've not been as impressed, but when I say this, it's more the fact that I just want to see that guaranteed star now on the left wing. We've signed an abundance of left-wing players over the last 5 years, and no one's held down that position yet. I'm getting a bit sick and tired of that. And with Gittens, is he more likely to achieve world-class potential? Is this something he has in this game? Or is he going to be another Christian Pulisic for us, where, listen, they're good for the squads, they have their moments, but they're not necessarily the needle movers that are taking us to that next level. I respect that tactically at Dortmund, Kovac has brought a bit more structure, wing-back setup and system. Gittens has to play inside. He'll probably benefit a lot more from having more freedom and 1v1 spaces out wide for us. I understand that. But is that going to be enough to take us to compete for the league next season and to do things in the CL? I thought that once we bagged CL qualification, this would automatically give us a lot more flexibility now to spend big, higher, and maybe target more like guaranteed options on the left wing. The players I want us to look at, man, Rodrigo, Nico Williams, even Leao, these are like the best players in their positions. And I feel like this team needs to start introducing one or two of these marquee signings now into the squad, into the first 11. And this will just automatically upgrade everyone at the club simultaneously overnight. And I just don't think Gittens is that type of player. Could he become that? Of course he can, but we have a million players that can also become that in the future. The reality is that 2025 hasn't been great for Gittens, yeah? He scored 3 goals this year. There were 2 goals at the start of the month, and then there's only been 1 goal in 2025 since the 14th of January. That is a long time where he's not added anything in terms of assists or offensive numbers or metrics. He's been in and out of the team. You know, he's lost that first team status. I just think to myself, irrespective of Dortmund securing CL, when you're losing your status this quickly, yeah, this must mean that your price tag comes down quite a lot, because you signed this guy on a free, I think, from Man City all those years back. So you're going to cash in quite big on him. I understand that there has been some, difficulties behind the scenes, some tensions between Gittens and Dortmund. Naturally, Dortmund themselves will be less inclined to want to use the player. I can't also ignore the fact that one of the reasons as to why, these issues even rose up was that maybe as it was getting to the midway point of the season, Gittens' form and game was dropping a little bit. And for all the excitement he has, which he does have, direct threat, two-way dribbling, super quick feet, yeah? The drop of the shoulders, the step overs, yeah? The ball is glued to his foot when he's running at man. He can score some spectacular goals. He's shown that he has the ability and the potential to be a match winner, as he's shown during the start of last season. There's also the rawness, which has become a factor that has held him back in the second half of the season. Yes, he's a high-volume dribbler. You can make the argument that when players go to clubs like Dortmund, they know that they're the stepping stone clubs that push you on. So you're going to be a bit more selfish. I've made this point for Benjamin Sesko. You know why these guys are playing the way they do. But maybe forgetting sometimes, he doesn't always see the full picture. He can be a bit too one-note, a bit too one-dimensional in terms of how he uses his skill set. Now, that can be improved upon for sure. That can get better over time. I'm not saying that it can't. But what I'm saying is that, is this the profile we need to add yet again to the squad? Another player that could maybe turn top in like 2-3 years? I'm not too sure. And that's really my main issue with this potential news. It's the fact that we are yet again taking like one step forwards and one step back. I wanted to see upgrades signed. I thought the left wing should have been in that position where the upgrade is targeted. I don't want to keep signing the same player that is waiting to blow up. We have enough of these guys already. I mean, see it like this. Neto, he was all right in his first season, let's be honest with the guy. But even him at 24 years old, it was a big learning curve going from a Wolves team where you had time and space to go on like 50, 60-yard runs for fun, compared to coming to a club where those spaces are reduced because now you're up against compact defenses. That changes your game. And if someone at 24 who's turning 25 years old even had to learn how to adjust, how's that going to affect a kid who's like 21 years old? You know what I mean? Especially when I think Gittens would be a competition winger where both him and Sancho would be fighting it out down that left flank. That's if Noni Madueke isn't continuing to play on the left. now when Esteval obviously joins us next season. So I'm not too sure, my guys. Let's see what's going on with this. There's only my thoughts on this right now. I could be wrong in the future. Let's say he bags for us. I'm completely wrong. I'll be happy to be wrong, yeah? I'm not one of those guys that cares about being right. But I'm not too sure, man. It's not as sexy of news to be reading this morning. And it makes me think, okay, maybe the only marquee guy we're going to target now is Ekitike. And even then, even though I think we have to get this guy, is it enough? Time will tell. So my friends, that's everything from me today. Share your thoughts and opinions, and I'll chat to you guys in a bit.